EPS is a very broad department at this point, and one of the things that really helps us is that a lot of people span multiple areas and multiple disciplines, and one of our biggest strengths is our people. And so everyone in the department is really interested in thinking about the big picture problems, driven by curiosity, and at the same time we still value what we're giving back to society as well. And so I think that people have a very high level of kind of civic responsibility and interest in students and in education and in influencing the rest of the world around us.
My research is in molecular paleontology. I look at genes from living things, and I mostly study living animals. And I use that information to reconstruct how genes have changed over time and ask questions about ancient life. So I work with a lot of different marine animals, but in particular for a long time I've been working on moon jellyfish. As a biologist, they're really interesting because they have really amazing abilities to regenerate missing tissue. But as a sort of a molecular paleontologist and thinking about those deep questions, they're also one of the oldest groups of animals that are alive today. I think there's this exciting interplay that we're just starting to understand between the early Earth and how it became habitable for complex life, and what some of the earliest animals, things like jellyfish, what role they might have had.
The project that we're working on in Lake Frixell in Antarctica explores how the microbial communities change the chemistry of the water depending on their metabolic activity, which genes are active. So we're exploring how the beginning of photosynthesis at the end of winter takes the mats and changes their chemistry. And we're using that as an analog for what might have happened on early Earth before there was oxygen and when we first had oxygen produced by photosynthetic microbes. On the surface, it seems like that might not have very much to do with societal challenges, but we are life that's interacting with Earth now, and as humans, we're really changing our environment with our activities. And so we can get a different perspective looking at the rock record and seeing how life changes Earth to what's happening now. And we end up with different types of data, and those can provide insights that are different than if you just study the modern environment and the modern changes that we see today.
So my research focuses on what I like to describe as the inner workings of volcanoes. It's really what's going on below the surface that either does or doesn't lead to an eruption, and how it influences what's happening below the surface. I've been part of an effort that's funded by NSF to organize the volcano science community to be able to make better communication between observatory-based scientists and those outside the observatories in order to really make the most of volcanic eruptions. It's difficult for the observatory scientists to be focused solely on the science because their mandate during an eruption is hazard mitigation and protecting people and property. And at the same time, there's a lot of data and information that can only be collected during an eruption. That's critical to understanding that and future eruptions. So we've been doing a large community scale effort to try to bring these communities together more effectively, build ties there that then will lead to better science, better understanding, and more hazard mitigation.
In the shock compression lab, we smash planets together in order to study what happens to geologic materials under high pressures and temperatures. We can recreate the pressure and temperature conditions found during the formation of planets. We are trying to understand how much energy it takes to melt and vaporize rocks during the growth of planets. So we're measuring the temperature of major minerals like olivines and quartz. My work is very interdisciplinary, and I take a lot of information from isotope geochemists and trying to understand how planets grew and formed. And it's essential for me to have an environment where we can integrate data from lots of different sources.
So EPS has supported me in so many ways as a graduate student, one of which is by providing the opportunity to basically walk up to any faculty and ask if we can use their instrument, or ask for a grad student to train us in any instruments. And so they are very helpful in I need to know what to do for my QE preparation, what do I need to submit, what documents, and they actually follow up on you. So it's they actually genuinely care about you and your growth as a grad student.
The University of California, Davis has launched a Grand Challenge initiative. And the goal is to harness the creativity of our faculty and the strength of our faculty to bring them together to work collaboratively on problems that are challenging to society. One of my priorities in the college is to really develop interdisciplinary groups. And our geoscience faculty are already doing that because they have to bring in information from different disciplines in order to be able to understand the Earth. And so, as we've tried to encourage these interdisciplinary groups, our faculty in our geoscience faculty can play a critical role in supporting these other faculty who are not used to having this big picture type of thinking and bringing in information from disparate fields.